Man, the amount of times I've re-recorded the audio for this is disappointing. How do you do? I'm Flintaroo, and a while ago I had really bad art block. The kind where everything I drew didn't look good to me no matter what I did. So I decided to go back to my roots and draw my cat OCs. I ended up getting really into the story, and I thought, well, why not make a video blabbing about my little kitties? Um, it's currently storming where I am right now, so if you hear rumbling in the background, that's just thunder. Yeah. I have a lot to say, so anyway, let's just jump into it. Alright, to start off, we're going to need to go back to middle school. I was a Warriors kid. I started drawing because I wanted to come up with my own designs and make animations and stuff. I never did, but I thought it. I thought really hard on it. Then eventually I wanted to make my own characters. I decided to make my own Warriors OC story titled Tulip Springs Hop. It'd be like a super edition, starring my OC Tulip Spring and her life as a ThunderClan warrior. The main clans featured would be ThunderClan and ShadowClan. In the middle of the story, something horrible was gonna happen to ShadowClan. They were gonna get invaded by human hunters who stormed their camp, guns blazing, forcing ShadowClan to combine with ThunderClan. Not exactly sure why I did that. I think I just didn't want to go back and forth between events in other clans. I also made 0 characters for River, Wind, and Sky Clan, so... Anyway, Tulip Spring's family were her parents, Red Streak and Swiftwind, and her brother, Skybush. I'd like to note that Swiftwind's design was heavily based off of She-Ra's Unicorn from the 80s. I wanna say that. Her love interest was Branchlight, and her bullies/antagonists were Dawn Rose and Nighthawk. Middle school me had a lot of entertaining ideas for the original story. Basically, it was about Tulip Spring going through her dramatic life in ThunderClan. And I mean dramatic! She spent a lot of time fighting with Dawn Rose over Branchlight. Think Marinette and Chloe Bourgeois, except Tulip isn't like Marinette. I don't want her to be like Marinette, oh my god. We don't need a stalker in here. I remember at one point, I couldn't decide if I wanted her eyes to have heterochromia or not. So what I did was make Nighthawk throw her off of a cliff, and the impact changed her one eye from purple to blue. I don't think that is a thing that happened, but middle school me was satisfied with, so I guess who cares? There's also an emo, depressed, corrupted version of her that exists as an AU. Everyone has an emo, corrupted version of their character, right? You know, I feel like that's a canon event. The main big defining thing that happened in the first version of the story is a big battle occurs between ThunderClan and an outside rogue group. The battle is really tough and lots of cats are getting hurt, so Tulip Spring challenges their main leader to a showdown to end everything. Their leader accepts and they begin fighting. Tulip's losing, but in the middle of the battle, she learns how to do a cartwheel, cartwheels into the leader, and sends him flying down a hill, and she wins. That's why it was called Tulip Springs Hop. She was just a cartwheeling cat. I really wish I drew that scene out so I could go back and look at my vision for that. I really wish I drew it. I don't have any drawings of it though. Also, the first version of her, I remember the first version of her was scared of blood. So the fact that she fought in the battle was like this big epic thing, her overcoming her fear. I love middle school me story ideas. They were so entertaining. They might not have made sense, but man, they were entertaining. They make me laugh. Anyway, that's all of the context for how my cat OCs came to be. Now, The story has changed a lot over the years. Around high school, I decided I didn't want it to be a Warriors OC story anymore. I wanted it to be its own thing. The story is now called Mystic Spring. I made different settings, altered names, new plot points. There are two main realms that this story takes place in: the mortal realm and the spirit realm. The mortal realm is where normal alive cats are, and the spirit realm is where different kinds of spirits and the souls of passed on cats roam. The spirit realm is divided into three parts: the heavenly planes, where souls of the deceased and beings with regular hearts are, aka animas. The shimmer springs, where beings with hearts of pure light are, shimmers. And the shadow vortex, where beings with hearts of pure shadow are, shadows. Each of these areas has their own leader: Kronos of the shimmer springs, Phantom of the shadow vortex, and Phoenix of the heavenly planes. Phoenix is actually kind of depressed right now, and he isn't really doing his job, so there's like someone else taking over for him. But we're gonna come back to that later, another time. Every generation, there are two unique cats born. One blessed to walk in light, and the other cursed to walk in darkness. They are called the Majesties of Light and Shadow. It's the duty of the Majesty of Light to bring joy and bless all they come across, and it's the duty of the Majesty of Shadow to bring out the darkness in others' minds. Our little Tulip is to be the next Majesty of Light. Here's where the family tree changes a little bit. Kronos, who is the previous/current Majesty of Light, is Tulip's grandfather. So he had a daughter, her name's Goldenflight, but I just call her Goldie, and she had two kits, Tulip and Wisp. These two were born at an unfortunate time. The spirit realm is going through a collapse. The heavenly planes experienced a loss of order and has been plunged into chaos, and the chaos is seeping into its neighboring realms. In order to keep her daughters out of harm's way, Goldie decides to transport Tulip and Wisp to the mortal realm. There they can have a decent childhood and grow strong before inevitably having to return to the spirit realm. However, something goes wrong. In the middle of the teleportation process, Wisp is sucked into the shadow vortex, and Tulip lands in the mortal realm alone with her memories jumbled. Where'd she land, you might ask? In a place called the Echo Forest. Alright, here's where I explain the mortal realm. The main setting of the mortal realm is the Echo Forest. Close to it is the Pride Plains, and another area I haven't gone around to naming yet, but it's basically a cliffed area with a waterfall. I'll figure out a name for it later. I'll make a really ugly sketch so it's easier to visualize. I don't think I want humans to appear in this story, so just imagine this place is like deep in the wilderness. The cats who live in the forest are called forest echoes, and the cats who live in the plains are called plain prides. You could compare the forest echoes to a warrior clan, but it's a bit different. They're not territorial. They aren't all in one spot. They're spread throughout the forest and usually stick in family/close friend groups. Cats can come and go as they please, and everyone in the forest knows of each other, and they come together to support each other through harsh weather or food shortages. They're like one big, mostly friendly community. There is one leader who goes around and checks on everyone, makes sure no one's committing murder, hears out everyone's problems, all that stuff. He's been through a couple names. First it was Rockstar, then it was Rock Fury, and now it's Andesite. I literally just googled rock names to figure out his new name. The Echo Forest is pretty big, with a good handful of cats living there, so Andesite has a team of about 3 others that help him keep everything in order. Alright, that's enough of that. The gray and white she-cat Swift Willow had just given birth. It was a very difficult experience, and only one of the 2 kids survived. The following month, a harsh, unnatural storm appeared. Boiling droplets of rain poured from the sky, the wind echoed ominously through the trees, and colored lightning crackled in the clouds. It was unlike anything any cat had ever seen before. The forest echoes all rushed to find whatever shelter they could. In the midst of the panic, Swift Willow caught a shimmer of gold. Against her better judgment, she followed it. She trudged through the storm until she came upon a little pink kitten huddled in the bushes. The gold shimmer swirled into the silhouette of a cat, then vanished with the wind. No words were spoken, but Swiftwillow knew exactly what she had to do. Perhaps this kitten can heal the wound her unbreathing daughter had left. I made that little excerpt for fun, because why not? So, Tulip has her bio family in the spirit realm, and now her adoptive family in the mortal realm. Swiftwillow told her that she found her during a storm, so Tulip does know that she's adopted. I'm going to go over some of the cats I mentioned earlier and how they've sort of changed. Tulip Spring's name has been shortened to Tulip. Red Streak stayed the same, but Swift Wind is now Swift Willow. And I might end up shortening it to Willow later. I don't know. I like Swift Willow, though. Whatever. They are Tulip's mortal realm parents. Ooh, lightning. Man, that would have been perfect while I was reading, man. Skybush's name is now Sky, and he's Tulip's little brother. Red Streak is a part of the team that helps Andesite, and sometimes he brings Tulip and Sky along with him on patrol. He likes letting Tulip ride on his head and letting Sky jump after his tail while they're walking. Swiftwillow is more of a cautious parent who's constantly fretting over her kids. And she gets worried when they're out of sight for too long. She's just an anxious cat in general. Lots of things make her nervous. Good thing she has Red Streak there to tell her that she's not going to get jumped by an alligator in the forest, right? Sky and Tulip have a pretty stereotypical brother-sister relationship. Tulip likes to follow in Swiftwillow's example and tries to dote on him, but Sky is like the brothers from Aristocats. You're not a lady, you're nothing but a sister! And then they tumble into a play fight until Swiftwillow breaks them up. Branchlight, now Feather Branch, is no longer a love interest. He's just a friend. And Andesite's son. He's a pretty chill guy. He likes to take things slow and not spend too much time worrying about things. You can find him lazing around on a tree branch somewhere. Somehow he doesn't fall off. I don't know how. I didn't exactly change Dawn Rose's name because I like it, but other cats just tend to shorten it to Dawn for some reason. She's still a bit of an antagonist, but not the antagonist, if you know what I mean. She's definitely an obstacle Tulip has to overcome. Dawn verbally abuses anyone she comes across. It doesn't matter who you are, you're in her way. Move before you get roasted like a Texas barbecue, alright? She's everyone's antagonist. Nighthawk. I like his name too, so I don't think I'm gonna change it. He's more of a redeemable, angsty guy than an antagonist now. No longer throwing people off cliffs. Zane Romay vibes, you know? He's like that. The major antagonists are in the spirit realm. I might make a big antagonist in the mortal realm, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Oh my gosh, I have so many little stories about the background characters. I could make a whole other series just about them. I quite literally have 150 cat designs sitting in my computer right now. I got very carried away. Cats are just so fun to draw. I can't help it. Okay, new plot stuff. If Mystic Spring were a show or a comic, I'd probably divide it into 2 seasons. Season 1 would be a bit similar to the original story. Tulip goes through her life with the forest geckos, but something doesn't quite feel right. She notices things that others don't. She sees weird things in the light, has weird dreams, feels what others feel, and none of the cats around her seem to be able to help her understand what's happening. Tulip begins to feel a disconnect with the forest geckos. She loves her family very much and she's happy she's with them, but she starts to get curious. Where did she come from? It's common for unwanted kits to be abandoned in the Echo Forest, but was she really abandoned? So the first quarter of the story is Tulip going through her life as a forest echo, establishing her personality and relations, all that stuff. On to the second quarter. The forest echoes go into battle with the plain prides. Near the end of the battle, the Plain Pride leader proposes a one-on-one showdown to end the conflict. If the Forest Echoes win, the Plain Prides back off. If the Plain Prides win, they get what they want. I'll go over what they want later. Anyway, both sides agree and the Plain Pride leader chooses who to fight. He picks Tulip's brother. Tulip is horrified and volunteers to take his place. The Plain Pride leader agrees and the showdown begins. Tulip doesn't do a cartwheel this time, but she does make this really epic jump. It's almost as if she were flying, and it might be a trick of the light or mass hysteria, but did she sprout wings? Tulip wins the showdown and the Plain Prides back off. Afterwards, Tulip can't stop thinking about the battle. During her showdown, she got the sense that their leader was like her, the foreshadowing that they're two missing pieces of an immense puzzle. She can't shake the nagging feeling that he might be important to the answers she's been looking for. Tulip ends up going after him. She finds him, and it turns out her feeling was right. He doesn't have all the answers, but he steers her to the path she needs to go down. While gathering information, Tulip and the Plain Pride leader fall in love, and then I don't really know what happens from there. I know what I'd want the overarching plot of Season 2 to be, but I haven't put together the details yet. That's when Tulip starts discovering the spirit realm and her powers and all that, and I want it to end with this big old battle that encompasses both the mortal realm and the spirit realm. Speaking of powers, I haven't quite figured out what all of Tulip's powers are going to be. I was playing clarinet in band whenever I first created Tulip Spring, so I gave her a connection to music because that's what was influencing me at the time. I gave her different pieces of jewelry with music notes and treble clefs on them. Maybe I should go back over my old sheet music because it feels like I was drawing them wrong, even though I probably wasn't. I don't know. For some reason, it always feels like I'm drawing music notes wrong. At first, she had a treble clef earring, then I added a cuff to the design so it looked more like sheet music. And then I changed it to a thin necklace with a single note. After that, I switched it to a bracelet, and that went through a couple different designs. But now I'm thinking of changing it to a necklace again, though this time it's more like a collar than a necklace. She receives it when she finally awakens her powers, but she can't take it off, no matter what she does. When I was brainstorming ideas for her powers, I had creation and manipulation of light in my notes. So, I think it'd be cool if, for an offensive attack, Tulip could blast music notes from her mouth. Or maybe, like, different melodies do different things. Some songs are for offense, others are for defense. If you've ever watched the anime Healer Girl, she could probably help heal others with her songs like they do. That'd be fun. At one point, I started associating her with butterflies. Probably because they symbolize life and joy and among other things. I'm not sure how I'd incorporate that yet, but I'll find a way. That's enough about Tulip for now, though. Next, I'm going to talk about our Plain Pride leader, or rather, soon-to-be leader, Razor. Razor is similar to Tulip. There are actually 5 kittens that escape the spirit realm. Tulip, Razor and his twin Frost, Fox, and Shatter. They were all born during a very tumultuous time, so Razor's parents, Snowdrop and Rainfrost, decided to gather some important cats and send all their kits to the mortal realm. The teleportation spell was partially successful. 4 of the kits were fine, but it didn't turn out too well for Goldie's daughters. Tulip landed in the Echo Forest with her memories broken, and Wisp didn't make it out of the spirit realm. Fox and Shatter are fine. They ended up in the new place I haven't named yet, and the twins landed together in the Pride Plains. With their memories intact, they're fine. I'm still changing and developing Razor's story, so I'm not sure how much of the following storylines I'm going to keep, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Paprika and his mate, Wish, were taking a walk through the plains when a strange chill passed over their fur. It felt like raindrops were plopping on their noses, even though the sky was clear. They walked a little further and heard a rustling in the undergrowth. Paprika reached out a paw to part the plants, and out popped 2 kittens. One with wide, scared eyes, and the other with blood on its paws and jaws. It was honestly terrifying, and Wish let out a shriek. Why are there 2 kids here, and why are they covered in blood? Once he was over his initial shock, Paprika led the kids to a puddle to wash the blood off. Wish stayed behind. He asked what happened to them and where their parents were. Apparently the twins had been ambushed by a fox and their parents were gone. It was astonishing how neither of them were injured. None of the blood was theirs. Paprika made up his mind. He'd ask Wish if they could take them in. If not, then he'd find a good home for them. Wish ended up agreeing, but she eyed the boy warily. The very next day, a strange, harsh storm appeared. The rain was hot, the wind swirled violently. And was that red lightning? It almost looked as if the lightning was chasing something, but that couldn't be possible, right? Okay, let me talk about Wish and Paprika for a second. Wish doesn't have a great personality at all. She's very self-centered and is scarily talented at getting what she wants. She's also very fake. She'll act sweet to you if you have something she wants, but as soon as she's done, she'll switch up and give you the cold shoulder. You do not want to get on her bad side. She can socially destroy you. Paprika, on the other hand, is a big softie and the current leader of the Plain Prides. That's a tongue twister. Plain Prides. His charisma and wisdom makes him popular with others. He has a big silhouette which can startle you at first, but once you have a conversation with him, you'll realize he's just a big old Care Bear. He's so, like, fluffy and sweet. His tail is so fluffy, I just want to grab it and put my face in it. I'm getting fluff. I get fluff aggression from this. Oh my goodness. I love Paprika. Wish got with Paprika because, she liked him, but also because he has power. He has significant sway among the Plain Prides because of his status. And, also because of his personality. Even if he wasn't leader, everyone would still listen to him. Eventually, they decided to have a family. Wish specifically wanted a daughter. She birthed a son. Paprika was overjoyed and named him Staple, while Wish was conflicted. She tried to connect with her son to no avail. He looked like her, but he didn't have any of her personality traits. He was enigmatic and spent his time making pictures in the mud. How uncouth. And above all, she still couldn't get over the fact that he wasn't a girl. She wanted a daughter, but didn't get one. Why? She always got what she wanted. Wish eventually became aloof towards Staple. Paprika tried to get them to bond, but his attempts failed. Wish remained distant from Staple, and Staple seemed to favor his father. Maybe the one thing they have in common is not caring for each other. Fast forward to the day they found the twins. Wish was originally appalled when she saw the twins, specifically Razor, because he had the most blood on him. Then she realized one of them was a girl, a daughter. The twins told her their names were Razor and Frost. Wish ended up calling them Frost Petal and the other one, or the boy. Paprika took them into his family and showered all of them with equal affection. Wish singled out Frost Petal. Staple didn't mind. He loved his new siblings. Razor, however, had a problem. She kept separating him from his sister. See, it turns out Wish is a very controlling parent. She now lives by the phrase, "Mother knows best," and won't have a word in edgewise. She's made it very clear that she does not like Razor. He's too rough and has an unsettling air around him. Her darling daughter doesn't need to be involved with that, so she keeps them apart. Razor and Frostpetal have been at each other's side from the moment they were born. They do everything together. They understand each other. They both remember life in the spirit realm. Wish coming in and putting up a fence was really hard on both of them. Paprika tried over and over again to compromise or reason with her, but she stood firm. So they got cat divorced. Yay! Wish decided to leave. She had a sister in the Echo Forest and was going to take Frostpetal and go live with her. It was a pretty heartbreaking separation. Frostpetal was crying and begging to stay with her brother, but Wish just picked her up and started walking away. Razor was devastated. The cat that he was the closest to and valued the most was now gone. It took a lot for Staple and Paprika to calm him down. He wasn't quite the same after that. Paprika started to find a looming darkness in Razor's eyes. Razor and Frostpetal's parents are a shimmer and a shadow. Frostpetal inherited her mother's heart of pure light, and Razor inherited his father's heart of pure shadow. Mortal cats don't really know about the different type of hearts, but they can sort of sense it. It's very rare, but some mortals can be born with pure hearts. Mortal cats will tend to gravitate towards light hearts and feel uncomfortable towards those with dark hearts. This makes things awkward for Razor. The Plain Prides want to like Razor. They did like Razor. But now he's unapproachable and unsettling. Before, the other cats could deal with the slight unsettling feeling and find ways to interact with him. But once Frostpetal left, it was very difficult to talk to him without feeling like you're suffocating under his gaze. Normally, being around a cat with a dark heart wouldn't have this type of effect. However, Razor's heart has been amplified. Frostpetal and Razor come from a lineage of powerful cats blessed with powers due to their close ties to the majesty of light. Frostpetal can walk in dreams and has the ability to heal others, and Razor has super strength along with abnormally sharp claws and a paralyzing gaze. The bloodline was never meant to be tainted with shadow DNA, so things ended up a bit wonky for Razor. His emotions are more intense than others. He needs a shimmer nearby to keep him in check, otherwise his powers will go out of control and his heart will consume him. Maybe. We'll see if I keep that in. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, Paprika and Staple try their best to be Razor's support system. They're the only ones he has right now. Razor has wanted to go after his sister many times, but Paprika knew that any interaction with his ex would end in bloodshed. He's also taken notice of Razor's heightened abilities. Over the years, he's tried to train him so that he doesn't accidentally murder everything he comes across. Paprika had taken Frostpetal's place as Razor's pillar, and things were going pretty well. Razor's dark aura started to ease up a bit, and he was able to have normal interactions with other cats again. Until Paprika fell ill. He had caught a deathly illness and was lying on his deathbed. Staple wasn't interested in leadership duties, so he took over caring for Paprika while Razor took up the mantle of leading the Plain Prides in Paprika's absence. Razor knew the only one who could heal him was his sister. He gathered up the Plain Prides and set out for the Echo Forest. They were there to negotiate. That was the intention. However, Wish wasn't going to let go of her daughter that easily, even if it's just for a few days. She knows the moment Frost leaves with Razor, she isn't coming back. Wish always gets what she wants. All it takes is a few honeyed words and flanderized descriptions to get cats to turn against each other. The Forest Echoes refused to give up Frostpetal. The Plain Prides were furious. Razor was seething with rage. Once again, he was being kept from his family. The only way to settle this dispute was with bloodshed. It was an intense battle. Crimson rays of sunlight shone on the grassy fields. There was a metallic, bloody tang in the air that flooded Razor's senses. His body moved on its own. He didn't know who he was striking down and didn't care. A red haze creeped up on the edge of his vision. In this moment, all that mattered was sinking his claws into fur. He looked around for his next target and locked eyes with his sister. She wore the same horrified expression as she did when they first landed in the mortal realm. Except this time, she wasn't scared for him. She was scared of him. Razor heard a ringing in his ears and came back to reality. His legs were drenched in blood. Cats were injured all around him. Some lay unnaturally still. This isn't what Frostpetal wants. This isn't what Paprika wants. The battle had gone on too long just to end with a retreat, and he still needed his sister, so he called for a showdown. He turned in a circle and picked a cat at random. It was a small gray and white cat. Razor felt a twinge of guilt because he looked significantly injured. Before he could say anything, a pink and cream cat stepped up, volunteering to fight. Razor squinted his eyes. She seemed familiar. He didn't have time to think on it though. This turmoil needed to end. Razor and the pink and cream cat began their showdown. Surprisingly, they were on even footing. Normally, no cat was able to look him in the eye, but she locked her gaze on him with fierce determination. It was strange. They leaped away from each other to catch a breath. The pink and cream cat's eyes darted around. She took a step back and raced towards a tree. Was she fleeing? She scurried up the trunk of a tree, turned her head around, and launched herself in the air. It was a magnificent jump. The light around her formed the illusion of angel wings. Razor's eyes widened with clarity. "The majesty of light," he whispered. He was too distracted to dodge, and the she-cat barreled into Razor, knocking the wind out of him. After a moment, the she-cat got up and shook her fur out. Razor stayed still, pretending to pass out. There was no way he could raise a claw against her after realizing who she was. I wouldn't say Tulip and Razor are exactly childhood friends, but they interacted a few times in the spirit realm since their families were close. Tulip doesn't remember, but all 6 of the kids that were part of the teleportation circle had little playdates while their parents were talking business. Razor Tulip was and still is my OTP. I love drawing them together, it's so cute! They give each other a sense of belonging. As I've mentioned before, they're a bit different from the other cats because they're from a whole other realm. So having someone else who understands that feeling is very reassuring. They hear out each other's concerns, affirm that what they're feeling is valid, and find ways to work through their problems together. They're always keeping each other company. Oh, they're so sweet! Oh my god, I love them! If any of you want to draw them together for Artfight, I will explode into a pile of happy confetti. Thank you. For some reason, I've always struggled with Razor's design. It always feels like there's something missing. You can even see me changing little details between each drawing in the speed paint. Like the little curl on his fur and his teeth sticking out. I change that each time. And if I change Razor's design, I have to change Frost's design because I've always had a mental note that they're meant to look like a gender-bent version of the other. I don't know why middle school me came up with it, and it's just stuck in my brain this entire time. I have to stick by it. I also want something about them to look a bit unusual. You know, aside from the fact that they're freaking blue cats. Just another way to show that they're not from here. Razor has sharper teeth that stick out of his mouth a bit, and his claws are bigger, I guess? I need to practice drawing cat paws and claws. And whenever Frost cries, she makes little snow flurries instead of actual teardrops. It's quite noticeable because the poor girl cries a lot. She cries a lot. She makes a lot of snow. All 6 of the cats who have powers also have different forms in the spirit realm than in the mortal realm. Tulip has angel wings and flowers pop up wherever she walks. Razor has these big, dark, feathery wings and even longer teeth. He's kind of self-conscious about it. Poor guys. His teeth won't fit in his mouth. Probably scares everything off when he smiles, too. Don't worry, Tulip still loves you, it's fine. I don't know what to do for Frost's spirit realm form yet. I shouldn't just give everyone wings. Maybe I'll make little ice cubes and snowflakes float around her like her mother. Fox has fire powers, and their fur bursts into flames. And Shatter is supposed to have ice powers, but Frost already has a snowy theme, and I don't want them stepping on each other's toes, paws. I started to lean towards water powers, but that didn't really line up with her name, so I didn't like it. Until I had this train of thoughts. Okay, what are things associated with water? Seashells. When shells are eroded, they make sand. Sand turns into glass, and when it reaches a certain temperature, what's something non-ice that shatters? Glass. Shatter's theme is seashells, and when she combines her powers with Fox, then they can make enhanced glass barriers. That's what I'm doing. I'm not sure if that completely makes sense, but I don't care. I love it. I need a seashell cat. Figuring out her spirit realm form design is gonna be fun. I love water stuff. I really like the idea of spirit realm designs in general, ranging from cats that look fantastical to beings that resemble cats, if that makes sense. That'll be a fun challenge, testing my design skills. Anyway, I've been talking for a while, and that was a lot of information. I'm actually gonna have to split this video into 2 parts, because I have so much more to say. I'm not gonna give a set date because I never follow it. I never go through with it. So, but just know that it will be the next long form video. I'll be talking about the spirit realm and 2 other important cats in Mystic Spring. Not Fox and Chatter. I'm rewriting the characters right now. Thank you so much to those of you who have made it this far. Consider sticking around if you like my little cat story. I've taken up enough time. Bye-bye!